Thanks, Paul. Happy football season to everyone. It's great to be back with you, and obviously excited to kick off the 2021 campaign. It's been a fun camp. The guys have really grinded hard and are excited to be in game week. Obviously playing an outstanding opponent, the Michigan State Spartans. Got great respect for Coach Tucker, and they played outstanding against us a year ago. And we know we're going to have our hands full on Friday night, but it'll be back. It'll be great to be back in Ryan Field. It'll be great to welcome our fans back, and just really can't stress enough how excited I am to get back to playing football. Our thoughts and prayers are with all those in Louisiana and all those that are affected by the hurricane. Incredibly challenging times for everyone down there, and we lift everyone up in our thoughts and prayers. So with that, how about any questions that I can answer for you?
First question for Ben Chasen.
I can't hear anything.
Hi, Coach. Can you hear me?
I got you, Ben.
Got it. Great. You've mentioned kind of in the past a little bit that Hunter has taken some steps forward and that you felt confident to name him a couple of weeks ago as starting QB. Were there any things that you look back in hindsight now that he did last year, kind of while he was in that backup role, potentially things he picked up from Peyton that you think have made the difference and made him ready for this role now?
Probably a really good question for Hunter when he gets on here, learning especially from Peyton a year ago and his experiences in 19. I just think he's more confident. I think he has a better understanding of what we're trying to do offensively and a great relationship with Mike Bajakian. And then he's executed at a very high level. So it's, I think, a combination of a lot of things, but directly what he learned last year, probably a really good question for him if and when he gets on here. Thanks.
Next question for Chris Solari.
Hey, Pat, good to see you. I guess from a game preparation standpoint against Michigan State, when you see, first of all, the amount of turnover they've had on that roster, I guess, how have you gone about preparing for particularly personnel and whatnot? And what's your kind of sentiment? You've obviously explored the transfer portal. I mean, have you ever seen, or do you think this is going to become the norm for college football?
Well, without knowing Coach Tucker's plan, I can't speak to all that. I think every head coach has got a plan how to best, maximize their roster. Yeah, we've had to overturn a lot of stones, bud. We've had to go find a lot of tape on a lot of guys in different schools just to kind of get a snapshot. Our quality control guys did a good job getting that all organized, and trying to project, where those young men will fit into the scheme, that Coach Tucker runs in all three phases. So, it's been a challenge. There's no doubt about that, but this isn't the first time we've had to deal with this. Maybe a coordinator change here or there, a new head coach, maybe a little bit different from a personnel standpoint. Do I think the transfer portal is here to stay in college football? Yeah, I do. I don't see that going backwards to what it used to be. But everybody's got to manage their roster the way they see fit.
Do you, as a follow, do you think that, when new coaches come in or when there's coaching changes like this, I mean, I think there's somewhere around 40 some guys that are changed. I mean, do you think that is going to continue elsewhere? Or do you think a lot of people will be kind of looking at this as an example of maybe whether to or not explore the portal like that?
Yeah, Chris, I think we're the great plagiarists of athletics, in football. So if it works, absolutely, people will emulate it. Especially like you said, I think that you hit the nail on the head with the coaching change, right? There's, one day a young man wakes up in the locker room and apples is the right thing to do, and the next day it's bananas, right? Because just the coaching change. So they may not fit anymore, and I think the transfer portal gives that young man an opportunity to go find a new home. As long as everything's happening for the right reasons and a young man wants to go find some more playing time or a better fit, I'm all for it. I'm 100% against coaches running guys off their rosters. I think there's got to be a compliance component to that. And, I think as that gets evaluated as we move forward, there's been talk about maybe some relief. If you lose a transfer, you get one more on top of the cap. I think that's got to be really evaluated before we give carte blanche to every coach. I just think that could be a Pandora's box.
Next question from Michael Fitzpatrick.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned in your opening statement Michigan State played really well last year against you guys. Is that something you play up a little bit leading in the game? Not necessarily a revenge game, but let the guys know these guys got us last year. Let's get them back as an extra motivation thing.
Yeah, Fitz, I kind of like the halo look going on you right now, man. This is, I feel very holy. But yeah, it's, you look at the tape, you look at what we did and what they did, and you learn from it and you grow. And I thought our guys did a year ago, after watching that tape. We did not handle the road well. We did not execute well early, and they did a very nice job in all three phases. So, I think more it's a different team, especially from, the new guys that we have that maybe didn't play in that game a year ago. It's more just educating them on what it takes to win a Big Ten football game, and coming out the gate, it doesn't make it very easy. So with the youth that we have and then playing the opponent and the talent that they have, it's going to be a big challenge.
Next question for Miguel.
Hi, Coach. Have you had any difficulties in finding replacements for Rashawn Slater, Greg Newsome, and Ernest Brown?
Yeah, Miguel, you can't replace those guys now, right? I mean, draft picks are irreplaceable, especially first rounders. But a year ago, you look at the way that our secondary played collectively as a unit, maybe the best that we've had in my time. Peter Skronsky stepping up as a true freshman, playing left tackle, and then to get Sam Duke Miller back, as a guy that was a projected starter a year ago at defensive end. I think a combination of all three of those things gives us great confidence at those positions with some spectacular players that we lost in Ernest and Rashawn and Greg.
Next question for Eric Rinson LaBelle.
It's a lot of new guys cycling at receiver, taking on bigger roles starting on Friday. How would you evaluate where that position group is as you start the season?
I like it a lot. I think that group is athletic. I think they're competitive. Dennis Springer's done a great job with our recruiting office, recruiting to that position. We'll be a little bit younger, but at the same time, I think every bit, if not more explosive than maybe we've been in the past. So I'm excited to watch that group compete. They're going to have their hands full with a talented, Spartan secondary. There's no doubt about that. But they'll be excited to go compete.
Next question for Drew Schott.
Hey, Coach, hope all is well. You're in the unique position from 2018 of starting with a Big Ten opponent before jumping into non-conference play. Kind of how much of starting with the Big Ten opponent does that change your approach of attacking the preseason, if any?
Yeah, Drew. I mean, obviously, it's a big blip on the radar during training camp, right? What's our why as we're working through everything? To have an opponent like a Big Ten team on the horizon in the opener, I think definitely adds that, when you're running that extra 60-yard dash, the motivation's definitely there. So I don't know if it changes anything per se, but it definitely is top of mind in your mindset of what your why is and what you're doing when you're getting prepared, especially in the grind of training camp, like it is for everybody.
Next question for Matt Wenzel.
Hey, Pat. You obviously named Hunter the starter recently. Mel has yet to name a starting QB. I was just kind of wondering kind of the different philosophies and how you view that, maybe to, you guys watch tape on two different guys versus naming the guy ahead of time and just knowing where you're going forward.
Yeah, Matt. I think, again, it's a coach by coach individual decision. I've done it all. I mean, I'm sure my fans have been mad at me when I waited until kickoff to let them know. And then I'm sure they're asking why I named a guy now a couple of weeks early, but that's fun for the fans. But I think as a coach, you got to do everything you can to help your team win. And if you feel like waiting until, the end of game week to announce that to the media, then that's the decision that I think, as a coach, maybe you play a little bit of fun with it. And you typically have always let your team know in advance. So I'm assuming Mel has already alerted his squad on who the starter is. And those guys know that, they're just not going to do it publicly. And yeah, you have to watch more tape as coaches, but we do anyways. We're pretty big losers. So that's about all we do anyways, is watch tape. So, you go back, you get the Temple video and, you study all that and try to get as prepared as you can. And, now this is my 16th opener. And if there's one thing I've learned, no matter what happens in your preparation, you need to get prepared to adjust. You don't have, the video understanding of how, a team is prepared in the off season and their new wrinkles and nuances, and then how have they prepared for you. So it's definitely a challenge in the opener. And, one that as a coach, I think you really look forward to because of the challenge.
Thanks, Pat.
Yeah, you bet. Travel safe over here.
Next question for Larry Snyder.
Hey, Fitz, as you just said, it's your 16th opener. When does your team over the past create their identity? Is that something that, because it changes every year, obviously, with guys leaving. Have they done that through camp? Is it something that happens 3 or 4 games in? What is your experience with that?
Yeah, Larry, I really hope it happens during winter work. It starts in winter workouts, when you get the new leaders starting to step up. I've used this analogy at the end of every season. It's a funeral and a birth all wrapped up into one, right? The 2020 team and that locker room down in Orlando, it was a funeral for our seniors and those that are no longer with us. And then kind of a birth of the 2021 team. And then you kind of go through the stages of life, right? And where you hope by the time you get to the season, you're somewhat middle-aged. And then it starts to go downhill quick. You get about 13 weeks to play 12 games guaranteed. So, I've looked at that lifespan of a team and each one is unique and different, but it really starts to manifest itself in winter workouts, then through spring ball, summer workouts, and then, that fourth quarter, so to speak, of preparation is training camp before the season. But I think maybe who you are and how your personnel is going to be used probably after the first month of the season, to your point.
Thanks, Coach.
Last question for Nate Atkins.
Hey, Pat, just curious, it's the first game in a while with fans back, and obviously you're going to have a lot of home fans, but you always get a decent amount of road fans in Big Ten games as well, just being, private school in Chicago. Just kind of curious, as someone who's played there and coached there, just what it's like to kind of deal with just road fans when they do travel for Big Ten games, and if there's any memories that kind of stand out to you on that.
Yeah, Nate, I really enjoy when our Wildcat fans go fill up other stadiums. So, I enjoy that, singing a fight song with them after we win games. That's my best memory. Yeah, no doubt about that. But I think that's the pageantry of Big Ten football. I think you look forward to full buildings and exciting crowds. And, you just really enjoy it. And the most important thing I look forward to is winning games. So, like always, that's my joy. That's why you put all this work in, is to win football games, no matter where it is that you get to play. It was unique last year, being in empty venues and then to get a chance to play in the Big Ten championship game in front of fans and then get down to Orlando and play in the Citrus Bowl in front of fans was awesome. So I think for all of our players and coaches, we'll be excited to get our Big Ten venues back rocking.
All right, thanks.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Looking forward to Friday night. Thanks a lot. Go Cats.